Tonight on Prime Business, consumers should brace themselves for an increase in the cost of goods and services as producer price inflation rate hits 38.38% in June, with manufacturing topping a 51% increase. We'll hear from the Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, Ayitey Makwabwa.
Continues like this, and you cannot absorb it. You have no choice than to pass on. And when you pass on, the implication is also there. So it's a very dicey situation, and we wish that we have a normalcy in our economic environment.
All these stories and more coming shortly after this. To stay with us. Tonight, consumers should brace themselves for an increase in the cost of goods and services. This is according to the Association of Ghana Industries, as producer price index, which measures the average changes in prices received by domestic producers for their output for the month of June, hit 38%. This indicates a 4.7% increase from May this year. Manufacturing topped the inflation chart with 51.8%, followed by mining and quarrying 25.5% and utilities 1.5%. Take a listen to Ayitey Makwabwa, the Chief Executive of the Association, who says there is a possibility of passing on the cost to consumers.
The fact that producer prices are going up, it means cost of production is going up. Now, when cost of production is going up, there are two things that can happen, or three things. You may, as a producer, decide that you transfer this cost to the consumer in the form of higher prices of your products. But that is not very simple. That's why sometimes they say there isn't much link between the PPI and the CPI. The linkage there that I see is the fact that if prices of your cost of production is going up, you may decide to transfer the cost to the consumer in the form of higher prices. But when you do that, there's a possibility, especially from a local manufacturer, there's a possibility for you to be losing market share because you have imported products that is competing with you in your own market. They may not be experiencing this situation you are experiencing. So imported products may not have that significant rise in prices. So if you pass it on, you lose your market share. Some have reasonable margin that can absorb such increase in cost. In that case, they probably will not pass it on. Others may pass a certain percentage on and absorb another percentage. Others may say, okay, I have to pass on everything. But those will have to be very careful about their market conditions. If your market condition doesn't permit such increase in prices because of the potential to lose your market share, then you have no choice than to absorb it. But you cannot absorb that for too long. That is why I got alarmed, because if it continues like this and you cannot absorb it, you have no choice than to pass on. And when you pass on, the implication is also there. So it's a very dicey situation, and we wish that we have a normalcy in the economic environment.
As the Finance Minister prepares to present the mid-year budget review on Monday, Mr. Ayitey Makwabwa is urging government to review measures targeted at ensuring macroeconomic stability.
The most critical challenge that we all have as manufacturers, as industry, and as businesses is about the stability of the macroeconomic environment. You want to have a predictable business environment. So how do you stabilize the city? It is very important. How do you stabilize the exchange rate so that it falls within a certain predictable range? How do you ensure that the policy rate is not continuing going up? So when you put all this together, then you have a stability in the macroeconomic environment. So in this budget that the minister will be presenting, we want to see the indicators, the factors that would come in to help cushion or ensure stability in the macroeconomic environment. That for us is very important. Because if you don't achieve that, even if you are giving subsidies, if you are giving any incentive, and you still have very unpredictable environment, you have a difficulty taking advantage of market conditions. So the first thing we want to see in the budget is indications of critical factors that will help stabilize the macroeconomic environment so that we can plan and predict and go on.
GCB Bank is now the #1 bank in Ghana with significant investment on the Ghana Stock Exchange fixed income market in the very first half of this year. The second biggest bank in the country held 16.74% of the debt market after buying 3.7 billion cedis worth of debt instruments. Charles Nixon Yeboah has more in this report.
GCB Bank overtook Stanbic Bank, which decreased its holdings in the government of Ghana securities to 13.41% from about 20% at the beginning of the year. The indigenous bank traded more volumes of debt instruments than any of the 23 banks. Stanbic Bank was second with a controlling stake of 13.4%, but its investment in government bonds stood at 3.5 billion cedis. Fidelity, Access and Absa Bank also maintained their significant investment in government debt instruments. Together, they control 34.1% of the Ghana fixed income market. From the trading result, one could tell that some of the banks have reduced their holdings in the largely risk-free instruments, whilst others have increased their stake. According to the Bank of Ghana's monetary policy report in May, banks' investment portfolio as of the end of April this year remained in favor of long-term debt instruments, a response to higher interest rates on the long-term instrument.
The ARB Apex Bank has approved a strategic plan to raise its capital base to 25 million cedis from the present 9 million cedis. The bank will float shares of 5 million cedis annually for a 5-year period to enable members to subscribe. The managing director for ARB Apex Bank, Alex Ewa, is hopeful that the increase in capital will help improve service rendered to clients of the bank. Nana Aljima was at the maiden annual general meeting of the Association of Rural and Community Banks CEOs in Kumasi and has filed this report.
For many years, the capital adequacy ratio for the ARB Apex Bank has stood at 9 million cedis, despite the increase of capital of rural banks to 1 million cedis. This has limited the bank's service delivery to the rural banks and their clients. By increasing the capital of the Apex Bank, clients of member banks whose loan needs could not be served locally will be taken up by the Apex Bank. Managing Director of the ARB Apex Bank, Alex Ewa, says in raising the amount, the strength of member banks will be considered in issuing the shares.
If we don't have the capital, we can't grant you significant monies. And recently, what we have also done is that we've introduced a product which is for non-members. And by non-members, we mean that if you're a rural bank and you have a customer, the customer is quite significant, the customer's account is good, but then you do not have the net worth to lend to such a customer. Certainly, we've introduced a product that will enable ARB Apex Bank to take on the customer and lend to them. But then, if our balance sheet, if our net worth is not strong enough, if we don't have the capital to do that, certainly Apex Bank will not be able to do that. And so it has become so imperative that we come to you for you to subscribe to additional shares.
To save distressed rural and community banks in the country, the strategic plan drawn by the ARB Apex Bank will establish a dedicated business unit for the purpose.
It's the effective management of distressed RCBs, for which we have set up a dedicated strategic business unit. The unit will be dedicated to troubleshooting our challenge RCBs and profiling them for effective and pragmatic remedial actions to bring them back to their feet.
The maiden AGM of the Association of Rural and Community Banks CEOs was attended by the chief executive officers of all rural banks in the country. The association seeks to promote best practices to ensure the rural and community banks take their rightful position in the economy. Hayatuddin Audu Ibrahim is founding president.
And so our greatest objective is using our numbers so that we actually become one of the leading force in ensuring that our individual institution, that's the Rural and Community Bank, thrive, and as much as possible also we are able to contribute our quota to the local economy across all the catchment area where we individually operate.
For Joy News, Nanaya Ojima, Kumasi.
Quest to rebuild a sustainable entrepreneurial ecosystem post-COVID, Aspen Network of Development Entrepreneurs, ANDE, has organized the ANDE West Africa Regional Conference to address challenges faced by small and growing businesses, SGBs. The two-day conference is under the theme Accelerating SGB Growth in Africa, of which we have more in this report.
The conference is to provide a platform for ANDE members across the region to interact and focus on solutions to the most pressing challenges faced by small and growing businesses. Speaking to Joy Business, Deputy Chief Executive of Development Bank Ghana, Michael Mensah-Ba, indicated that his outfit is putting together an intervention program for young entrepreneurs.
At the moment, we are putting together our strong governance structures and preparedness for beginning to give out our first loans. However, we have also formed partnerships, and some of the key partnerships were formed with the Ghana Enterprise Agency, the Association of the AGI, and the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industries. These are a few of the partnerships that we formed, and we want to work with them to ensure we also understand the challenges that the SMEs face, so that our products that we'll design will actually be tailored in a way that supports the growth of these SMEs.
On his part, member of the Enterprise Development Center of Pan-Atlantic University, Peter Bamkole, advised young entrepreneurs to leverage technology to expand their business.
You see, whether we like it or not, SMEs, SGBs, they must begin to adopt technology or digitalization of their processes from when from your supply end to the delivery and after sales service. And what we have seen during COVID was that majority of the small businesses that grew during COVID, that thrived during COVID, were those that leverage on technology. And we had a survey that we did mid-COVID, and about 7% of those they actually thrive.
Managing Director of Venture Capital Trust Fund, Hamdia Ismaila, touching on the lack of finance for SDGs, said entrepreneurs must resort to the right financial institutions to get support.
I think one of the difficulties we have in Ghana is that people, especially entrepreneurs, chase monies that is not right for them. Right. So, for example, if you are now starting, banking is the place for you to go. The bank wants to see that you are actually selling, you are making money, you have cash flow. So when they give you money, you can pay back. So when you hear that, we are not able to have access to funding, it's because you are going to the wrong type of financing.
ANDE is a global network of organizations that propel entrepreneurship in developing countries.
Tonight, we follow the story of a young Ghanaian wooden bicycle manufacturer who aims at addressing climate change and youth unemployment by creating jobs. Jim Tishan visits Joseph Tete, a young and ambitious bicycle manufacturer who intends to establish his own wooden bicycle company in Ghana to employ other youth who may be marginalized due to the global economic crisis. Take a listen.
Irrespective of the challenges young people go through on a daily basis to make ends meet, some are just not ready to be intimidated by the struggles in life. Joseph is one of such young men, from being a dropout to a houseboy and now making wooden bicycles. I'm sure you want to know more about the story. Follow me for more gist.
It's morning and Joseph's day has officially begun. 2 years ago, Joseph started making and selling wooden bikes using self-taught business skills after failing to land a job.
2007, that was when I did my first metal chopper bicycle. Then I let go of everything because I was thinking that maybe I could get some support or like people to support me so I can produce it in mass quantity, but to no avail. And at that time I was also a houseboy.
Okay.
So I decided I can't use my houseboy money, salary, something to be building bicycles. So I sold it and then I'm in a bit now. So I think in the year 2020, and then this whole thing popped up again.
Having lived in a low-income community battered by every increase in fuel prices, Joseph is supplementing cars with eco-friendly bicycles. Behind this impact solution exist strong problem-solving skills, but that wasn't enough to sustain his previous business.
And for now, I'm not thinking about the profit, because in everything you have to. There is something I believe that the Word of God says sowing. So now I'm sowing into what I'm doing for people mind to come on what I'm doing. So for now, I'm not that considerate. I'm not thinking much about the profit or money that I'm getting in return.
Transportation is responsible for 24% of global direct carbon dioxide emissions from fuel combustion. Road vehicles account for nearly 3/4 of transport emissions, and these numbers are not decreasing. But with these wooden bicycles, Joseph is poised to leave an impact.
Working on especially the wooden bicycle, it takes a lot of time because I'm the only person.
Okay.
Most of the children that are around that help me, they go to school. So daytime like this, I'm the only one doing all the cutting, the jigging and everything. So I can say it will take me about, let's say, 2 to 3 weeks to produce one bike. But I want to go into electric bicycle, which is e-bikes.
Okay.
But just that the component, I'm not getting the component here in Ghana, and getting the component out there is very, very expensive.
Rich in raw materials, Ghana is best suited as a hub for the large-scale production of these bicycles, which takes 95% less energy to make more than a conventional bike and captures 5 kilograms of carbon dioxide.
It's wood, and people might say, wouldn't it break? That is the perception about Ghanaians. I think with this initiative, it's gonna boost our economy. If we start producing our own bicycles, then it means the exporting bicycle into Ghana will stop. And now when we produce our own bicycle, what happens is we are creating employment for the youth, and the money also stays here. Yeah, so I can't work because even this morning it was raining, so I have to stop. And now if it starts raining, I have to just pack everything inside, then leave here.
Though made in Ghana, the escalating price in local raw materials leaves young innovators as Joseph crowded out. He fears his endeavor to present affordable and green products will wane.
Yes, there are some times I want to give up because all the bicycles you see here it's a lot of money you put into it. People might say that it's just a wood. You just take 2 woods and join them together, then form a bicycle. No, it's not like that. There's a lot of things that goes into it before you see it like this. So the journey is not easy, but people call to just motivate me, don't give up, one day it's going to be war. So we are just hoping for the best.
Joseph, who does most of his learning on the internet to acquire knowledge for the bicycle manufacturing, claimed to have invested all his money in this business. One would have to place an order to get the bicycles through social media. He wants to distinguish himself as unique in the bicycle manufacturing space in Ghana.
So my long-term goal is to be one of the best when it comes to bicycle manufacturing here in Ghana, because we don't have a bicycle manufacturing plant here in Ghana. And if by God's grace everything goes well, that is my dream. To produce bicycles, not only wood, but whether quad cycle, tricycle, paddle car, name it, any bicycle that you want to see here. So now I created an account, a YouTube account, I have Instagram, I have a Facebook account, CK_bikes, or Joseph Tete _, small letters, Joseph Tete _. So, and when you go to YouTube, CK TV, CK Bikes TV, you can get me there.
So the CK is the name of your, should I say, company?
Yeah, the company. I've registered it.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Without any shade and just beneath some 7 coconut trees, this is where Joseph That's a wooden bicycle. I've engaged him on so many issues, and according to him, he's ready to expand this businesses. He's calling on private institutions and also public institutions to come to his aid for Joy Business. But hold on, let me take my last ride, then we take it from there.
I guess we could all get ourselves one of these wooden bicycles. That was James Ashen's report there. Spectacular. That's how we end today's edition of Prime Business. I'm Charles Ayitey. I'll leave you with international business news, after which we have Prime Sports with Nathaniel Atto. Do stay with us.